Ini ganti-ganti English layer nanti kan.
Good morning, all of you. So in the previous classes, we discussed about resolution in propositional logic and resolution in predicate logic. Now in today's class, we'll discuss about knowledge representation. So knowledge representation is an important issue in both cognitive science and AI, artificial intelligence, right? So here cognitive science means the study related to brain and its functioning. That means how the neurons transmit the information from one neuron to another neuron. It means in our human body we have nerves, right? So nerves carry the information from brain to other parts of the body and from other parts of the body to brain. So like that, neurons. That means here the scientists have made a study. Uh, have made a study to know how the neurons transfer or transmit the information from one place to another place, right? There is nothing but cognitive science. So in this particular cognitive science, it is a way in which the information is stored and processed by humans. So it is a way in which information is stored and processed by humans. It's nothing but the storage of information and processing of information is done by humans. Like that, here also cognitive science deals with this one, right? Next, while in artificial intelligence, the main focus is on storing the knowledge and information in such a manner that programs can process it and achieve human intelligence. That means in artificial intelligence, here the main focus is on storing the knowledge. It means knowledge will be stored and information information will be processed so that it becomes equal to human intelligence. That means how a particular human being thinks, that this particular AI also does like that. That means just like human being. Right? Next, in artificial intelligence, knowledge representation is an important area because intelligent problem solving can be achieved and simplified by choosing an appropriate knowledge representation technique. Okay, by choosing an appropriate knowledge representation technique, we can do problem solving, right? Next, so this is the thing that is done in artificial intelligence. So representing knowledge in some specific ways makes certain problems easier to solve. That means wherever we represent knowledge, so if we use a better representation technique, we can solve the problem very easier. Next, the fundamental goal of knowledge representation is to represent knowledge in a manner that facilitates the process of inferencing or drawing conclusions from it. That means here the main or the fundamental goal of knowledge representation is nothing but it is to represent the knowledge in a manner. That means knowledge is to be represented, right? So to represent the knowledge in a manner that facilitates the process of inferencing or drawing conclusions from it. That means we're going to represent the knowledge somewhere, right? So that particular By seeing that particular knowledge representation, you can draw conclusions or inferencing from it. That means, okay, this is what we are representing here. So that means you can come to a conclusion. Okay, right. So by seeing the knowledge representation, we'll come to a conclusion. So that is the main goal of knowledge representation. So it is a manner. It is to represent the knowledge in a manner that facilitates the process of inferencing or drawing conclusions from it. So that is the aim or goal of knowledge representation. Okay. So coming to the properties of knowledge representation, we have some properties for knowledge representation system. The properties of knowledge representation system are as follows. First one is learning. Second one is efficiency in acquisition. Third one, representational adequacy. And fourth one, inferential knowledge. Coming to learning, learning refers to a capability that acquires new knowledge, behaviors, understanding, etc. That means learning is nothing but the capability where it can acquire new knowledge. That means the old knowledge, it can acquire new knowledge, and the behavior of the knowledge and understanding of the knowledge. That is acquiring new knowledge from the older knowledge, next behavior and understanding. All this come under learning. And coming to second one, efficiency in acquisition means it refers to the ability to acquire new knowledge. That means ability to acquire new knowledge using automatic methods wherever possible rather than relying on human intervention. It means without the human intervention, the system uses some automatic methods and it is going to get the ability to acquire new knowledge from it. That is without the human intervention, the system on its own will acquire, will use automatic methods and acquire new knowledge. That is regarding efficiency in acquisition. Third one is representational adequacy. Representational adequacy. It refers to the ability to represent the required knowledge. Okay. That means representing the knowledge. Okay. Next one. Fourth one is inferential knowledge. It refers to the ability of manipulating knowledge to produce new knowledge from the existing one. That means based on the existing one, it is going to produce new knowledge. Okay, that means a knowledge will be manipulated and it produces new knowledge from the existing knowledge. There is nothing but inferential knowledge. That means inferencing or referencing something. That is nothing but inferential knowledge. Now coming to the approaches to knowledge representation. There are some approaches related to knowledge representation. Now let us discuss all those. Knowledge structures represent objects, facts, relationships, and procedures. That means we can represent the structures like objects. We can represent the objects. We can represent the facts. We can represent the relationships, and we can represent the procedures. All this can be represented using knowledge. So these are nothing but the knowledge structures. Next, the main function of knowledge structures is to provide expertise and information so that a program can operate in an intelligent way. Okay, so this particular knowledge structures provide the expertise and information. So they are going to give us some expertise, and they're going to provide us some information so that a program can be operated in an intelligent way. That is, if it writes a program, so that particular program will be run based on the program will be run in an intelligent way, so that the knowledge will be represented in an efficient way, just like an expert. Right? Next, knowledge structures are usually composed of both traditional and complex structures, such as semantic network, frames, scripts, conceptual difference, etc. So discuss all these topics in our later. So in this particular chapter, we'll represent about all these semantic networks, frames, scripts, conceptual dependency, etc. Okay, so these are some of the traditional and complex structures that are used to represent the knowledge. Okay. Next, coming to the first one. So now let us see some approaches to knowledge representation. First one is relational knowledge. So this particular relational knowledge comprises objects containing attributes and associated values. That means in this, so we have some attributes, and those attributes will have some associated values. Okay, so objects will be there, and those objects will have attributes and associated values. So the simplest way of storing the facts is to use a relational method. So by using a relational method, we can easily or we can simply store the facts. So simple storage of facts will be done using the relational method. Next, in this method, each fact is stored in a row of a relational table. Each fact is stored in a row of a relational table as in relational database. So so you already know about this relational database, right? So relational database is nothing but a database containing some relations, and those relations are represented in a table in rows and columns. In the same way, here also facts will be stored in a row of relational table. So in a particular row, you have all the facts. Next, a table is defined as a set of data values that is organized using a model of vertical columns identified by attribute names and horizontal rows and corresponding values. That means here a table will be there and some data values will be there, and those data values are represented in columns and rows. So columns will give the attribute names and rows will give the corresponding values. Okay, next. So now let us see an example here. So this is so now let us consider this table. This table contains names, their age, their sex, next the qualification, and their salary. Okay. Okay. Now names will be there, their age will be there, next their sex, qualification, and their salary. All these will be represented in a table, right? So from the above table, we can easily obtain the answers of the following queries. So now some questions will be framed to us. So what is the age of John? So by seeing the above table, we can answer these questions. So age of John. So age of John. Next, how much does Mary earn? Next, what is the qualification of Mike? So all this can be represented, right? Okay. So age of John. So what is the age of John means? John's age. We can tell the John's age based on the table here, right? Next, how much does Mary earn? So that means the age of John here age of John is that age of John is 38 years. Next one, how much does Mary earn? Next, the salary of Mary. Salary of Mary is 25,000 here. Next, what is the qualification of Mike? Mike's qualification is undergraduate. Like that, I can answer all these questions. Right. Next, however, we cannot obtain answers for queries such as: does a person having PhD qualification earn more? Okay. Now, the question asked here is, does a person having PhD qualification earn more? So here I cannot answer this question. Okay. So directly I cannot answer this question. So by making some inference, I can answer this question. Okay. Because I need to do comparisons, right? Next. So inferencing. So inferencing knowledge is not possible from such purpose. Here we don't have any inferential knowledge. So that's why we cannot answer this question. If we use inferential knowledge here, then I can answer this question. Next. Next one is inheritable knowledge. Inheritable knowledge means inheriting the things from the parent class, right? Next, so in this particular approach, all data must be stored into a hierarchy of classes. So it follows hierarchy. Next, elements inherit the values from other members of a class. Elements inherit the values from the other members of the class. That means in a class we have members. Okay, so values will be inherited from the other members of the class. So that means one member will inherit the value from another member, like that. Okay. Next, so this particular approach contains inheritable knowledge, which shows a relation between instance and class. Okay, so this approach contains inheritable knowledge, which shows a relation between instance and the class. Okay, it shows the relation between instance and class, and it is called as instance relation. Instance relation. Each individual frame can represent the collection of attributes and its values. Objects and values are represented in boxed nodes. So the boxes are nothing but the objects and their values. Objects and their values are represented in boxed nodes. Next, we're going to use arrows here. These arrows will point from objects to their values. Now let us consider an example here. See this one. Okay. So here we have some players. Okay, some cricket players and football players. Peter is a cricket player and Ankit is a football player. Next, all these players are adult males. So we have to represent all these, right? Now I can represent the knowledge like this. So Peter is an instance of cricket, and Ankit is an instance of football. No, so so there are two types of players here: cricket players and football players. So now I can represent cricket under the players with easy relationship. Okay. Next, football. It can also be represented with easy relationship. Next, players. All those players come under adult males. So I can represent it using easy. Okay. Okay. So like that, I can inherit the knowledge. Okay. Next one. Third one is inferential knowledge. Inferential knowledge, that means referencing or inferencing something. Okay. Next, inferential knowledge. So this particular inferential capability can be achieved if knowledge is represented in the form of formal logic. So that means using the formal logic, we can use inferential capability. We can represent it using inferential capability. So it guarantees correctness. For example, suppose we have two statements like Marcus is a man, all men are mortal. So I can represent like this: man of Marcus, for all x, man of x, mortal of x. Okay. So inferential knowledge. So this is nothing but inferential knowledge. Right. Next one, procedural knowledge. So it is encoded in the form of procedures which carry out specific tasks based on relevant knowledge. Okay. So right. So it is encoded in the form of procedures which carry out specific tasks based on relevant knowledge. Next, for example, an interpreter for a programming language represents a program on the basis of, that means an interpreter for a programming language interprets a program on the basis of available knowledge regarding the syntax and semantics. Each and every language has syntax and semantics. Okay, a programming language interpreter interprets a program. Means interpretation of knowledge will be based on syntax and semantics of the language, right? The advantage of this procedural knowledge is that domain-specific knowledge can be easily represented, and side effects of actions may also be modeled. Okay, that means you can represent the domain-specific knowledge very easily, and also we can model the side effects of the actions also. Okay, so here there's a, however, there's a problem of completeness. That means we cannot completely represent the knowledge, right? And consistency also. There's a problem of completeness. Completeness is nothing but all cases may not be represented. That means we can represent many of the cases, but there's a possibility of we may not represent the we may not represent all the cases. And consistency. Consistency means all detections may not be correct. We cannot say it is consistent or it is entirely correct. Next. So coming to so these are the four types of approaches with which we can represent the knowledge. One is relational knowledge. Next one, inheritable knowledge, inferential knowledge, and procedural knowledge. These are the four types of approaches with which we can represent the knowledge. Okay. Next one, knowledge representation using semantic network. Knowledge representation using semantic network. Okay. Now let us see how to represent the knowledge using semantic network. How to represent the knowledge using semantic. Okay. Now let us see how to represent the knowledge using semantic network. So the basic idea applied behind using semantic network is that the meaning of the concept is derived from its relationship with other concepts. Okay. So the information is stored by interconnecting the nodes with the labeled arcs. That means nodes will be interconnected using labeled arcs. Now let us see one example here. Okay. So here semantic network is nothing but that means so which particular attribute is related to which particular class, like that, right? Next, here also information will be stored by interconnecting the nodes with the labeled arcs. Based on the labeled arcs, we can interconnect the nodes. Now let us see one example here. Okay, every human, animal, and birds are living things who can breathe and eat. All birds can fly. Every man and woman are human who have two legs. A cat has fur and is an animal. All animals have skin and move. A giraffe is an animal and has long legs and is tall. A parrot is a bird and is green in color. So now I need to represent all these. Now I need to represent all these facts, right? So we can represent such knowledge using a structure called a semantic network or semantic net. So, so here some knowledge is given to us, and we have to represent the knowledge using the structure. So we need to represent the knowledge which is given to us using a structure, and that particular structure is known as semantic network or semantic net, right? So it is conveniently represented in a graphical notation where nodes represent concepts or objects and arcs represent relation between two concepts. Okay. I can represent this particular semantic net using graphical notation. Okay, graphical notation. And here nodes will represent the concepts or objects. Concepts or objects are represented by nodes, and arcs, and when we have relation between two concepts, we can represent it using arcs. Next, the relations are represented by bold directed links. If I have a bold directed links, then they represent, they are nothing but the relations. And here we have is a and instance relationship. Is a is nothing but we can connect two classes using the relation is a. So this particular is a relation connects two classes where one concept is a kind or subclass of the other concept. One class is a kind of subclass, kind or subclass of other concept. That is nothing but, for example, man is a human. Means man is a subclass of the human class. So here human is a class and man is a subclass of human, like that. Right? Next, instance. The relation, this relation relates specific members of a class, such as John is an instance of man. Okay. So that means it relates specific members of a class. That means class members will be represented using the instance relationship. For example, John is an instance of man. Okay. That means a specific thing. A specific thing can be represented using instance, and class subclass relation will be represented using is a. Right? Next. Next. Now let us see this example. So I need to represent all this. Every human, animal, and birds are living things who can breathe and eat. Okay. That means now let us consider living things. So living thing. So living thing. So under living thing, and represent. Okay. Living thing. So living thing here. Under living thing, breathe and eat. Under living thing, I need to have human, animal, and birds. Three things. Okay. So I will draw three concepts. There. One is human. Okay. Um, Human. Next, birds. Human, birds, and animals. Okay, three things. Okay. Next, birds. All birds can fly. Means birds can fly. Okay. Next, every man and woman are human who have two legs. Now come to human. Human, right? Under human, I can have two things. One is man and woman. Okay. They have man and woman, right? Next one. Cat. Cat has fur and it is an animal. Now come to animal here. Animal. Animal. Cat. Cat is an animal. Cat is an animal. Next one. Cat is an animal. Next one. And it has fur. Okay. So cat has fur like that. Next one. All animals have skin and can move. Now come to animals. Uh, and animals have skin and can move. That means um, can, that means animal has skin, next can move, like that. Okay, next one. Next one is next one. Giraffe is an animal and has long legs and is tall. Now come to animal here. Animal under animal, let giraffe here. So giraffe is an animal. Next one, it has long legs. Has long legs and is tall. That means height is tall here, like that. Right? Next one, parrot. Parrot is a bird and is green in color. Now come to birds. Under birds, I can write parrot. That is an instance of birds and is green in color. Color is green. Okay. Okay, whatever facts given to us are to be represented using the semantic network like this. Okay, so like this, I can represent the knowledge using semantic nets. Semantic nets or semantic network. Next, so now here I have represented some other relations like can, has, color, weight. So all these are nothing but the property relations which have been represented by dotted lines. So all these are represented by dotted lines, that is can, next color, has, height, all this. Okay. These are nothing but the property relations which are represented by dotted lines, right? Next, also for example, the query, does a parrot breathe? Now the answer, now the question framed to us is, does a parrot breathe? So by using the above semantic network, we can easily answer this. Yes, does a parrot breathe? Okay, how means nothing but all living things. That means birds, all the birds come under living things, and all the living things can eat and breathe. Can eat and breathe. Now I can say that parrot also can breathe. Okay. Now I can answer the question, does the parrot breathe? Means yes. Next. So it is not directly associated with parrot, but it is indirectly associated, right? So because it inherits the property from its superclass named living thing. So the superclass is here living thing. Living thing is the superclass, and human, birds, animal, all these are subclasses, right? Next. So that means it inherits the property from the superclass called living thing, right? Okay. So here, so this is how to represent the knowledge, okay, using semantic network. Okay. We can also connect the we can also connect the things using property links, prop links. Prop means property links. Okay, I can also write the semantic net like this using the prop links. Living thing, property, breathe and eat. Next, under living thing, I have three things. One is human, animal, and bird. Birds have the property fly. Next, bird. Under bird, second, right? Parrot, which is in green color. That means property of parrot is green. Parrot is instance of bird, and bird's properties are they can fly. Next, under animal, giraffe and cat. So giraffe is instance. Giraffe is instance, and cat is an animal. Next, cat has the property of fur. Next, all the animals can have skin and they can move. So giraffe have the properties. They are tall and they have long legs. Next, coming to human, all the humans have the property of two legs. Two legs. They have two legs. Next, they have the categories of man and woman. So man is a human and woman is a human. Next, John. So John, that means John is a man, like that. Okay. So like that, I can represent the properties of a particular class or subclass using the property relations. So using the property, I can represent all the class and subclass relations like this. Okay. So this is how to represent the concepts connected with property links. Okay. Yes. Right. So coming to the next one, inheritance and semantic nets. So we can use inheritance in semantic nets, right? So hierarchical structure of knowledge representation allows knowledge to be stored at highest possible level of abstraction, which reduces the size of the knowledge base. In order to reduce the size of the knowledge base, we can represent the knowledge at the highest possible level of abstraction. Okay. Since semantic net is stored as hierarchical structure, the inheritance mechanism is inbuilt and facilitates inferencing of information associated with nodes in semantic net. Now let us see the algorithm for inheritance in semantic net. Input here is object and property to be found from semantic net. Output is written S. The object has a desired property, else written false. Now write the procedure. Now see the procedure. Find an object in semantic net. You have to find an object in the semantic net. If it is found, then false. Okay. While object is not equal to root or found, you have to do like this. If there is an attribute attached with an object, then found equal to true. That means if there is any relation, then you have to make it as true. Otherwise, object is equals to easy of object comma class or object equals to of object comma class. It may be either easy or instance. Okay, like that until the condition becomes false. That means until the object is equal to root, then that means if object equal to true, then it comes out of the while loop. Now, if found equal to true, then report as else report no. Okay, like that I can use inheritance and semantic nets. Okay. Yes. This today's class is completed. We'll discuss the remaining topics in the next class. Okay, thank you.